Critical Blast, where pop culture gets blasted.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at criticalblast.com, and we are doing, yes, a New Year's Eve live stream. Now, we are not going to try to go midnight. That would be insane. Besides, you have better places to be for that period of time. You're supposed to be with the ones you love and, planning that kiss at the stroke of midnight, which apparently none of you did last year because this year sucked. So let's do everything we can for good luck this year. Kiss the one you're with. Make sure you're wearing the yellow panties. I've got mine on because I'm not taking any freaking chances this year. Glad to have this year behind us. So this is an open mic night, and as such, I'm going to I've already put the link in the description below, but just in case, let me make it easier for everybody in the chat. I will copy the link right now and paste it into the chat. So if anybody wants to pop in and join the discussion, there it is. Just click on that and you can come right in. We are going to talk about the year in review, kind of, and we're going to look at the best of 2020. That sounds like such an oxymoron. The best of 2020, especially when we think that the best of 2020 is the fact that it's over tonight. It's done. It's gone. What more could possibly happen in the next 3 hours, 4 hours here, depending on where you are in the country? So, fingers crossed, knock on wood, do whatever it takes to make sure that you're safe through the end of this year, and then hopefully 2021 will be even better. So open mic night, click on the StreamYard link if you want to come in and be part of the program and have some discussion. And we will, break into intervals here, and there's going to be some surprises with our best of this year because we've done this for 6 years running, and there is, let me just show you an example here. We actually do, I'm using this one to hold pens because it was a misprint. We actually do print out trophies and we give them out. This one would have been Scott Snyder's, but it printed badly, so I had them redo it. This was the award for Best Comics Writer for 2019 for his work on Justice League, which he's still doing. So we put money into this. We ship them out. People get these things. So take the voting seriously. And speaking of the voting, there is also a link in the description right below that will take you to criticalblast.com, directly to our voting page for the best of. It's going to be weird this year because we had a lot of good comic books come out this year. And normally, the voting has always been for the big two. Well, the big two have been squeezed to the side by a lot of independent people who've been putting out a lot of quality work. Stay tuned for that. We will get to it. Let's just jump right in with our first one here, and I will bring it up. We're going to start with the best movies. These are just nominees. These are, what you can choose from. And if you don't like any of the nominations, guess what? You have an other spot. You can write in what you think should be the best one. So we cater to the readers. This is all the readers' choices. We don't control any of it other than, we kind of host the thing and we'll pay for the awards. So here we go. And that's why I should have put some sound on that. Would have made it a little bit more exciting, don't you think? Oh, can we give it a what? We should come up with special awards for people like Ray. I don't know. You know what? I think we can get a new cyborg and we'll be happy that we got one. So the nominees for Best Movie of 2020 are Bloodshot. Yeah, we're going to kind of skew geek. And remember, it's 2020. There weren't that many good movies that came out in the first place. Doolittle, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, who could not love a Robert Downey Jr. movie? Apparently, a lot of people didn't, but it's on the list. So I liked it. I thought it was a fun movie. Enola Holmes, not even in theaters. Netflix is squeezing into the best movies category this year by putting out some not series stuff, but actual direct to streaming movies. And we're going to have that happen a lot in the future, I believe. Fat Man. Now, this one came to my attention from a Don Chin review. I had to go see this one, and this is a worthy successor to Die Hard. If you want to have a man's Christmas movie, we have an article on our site, the 9 Christmas movies for guys who hate Christmas movies. We need to rewrite that and put this one on here. Mel Gibson as a Santa Claus who practices self-defense when a hitman is sent after him by a crazy kid. Very, very interesting movie. Freaky, Vince Vaughn and Catherine Newton. This is from the director of Happy Death Day. I don't have to read this to you. This is like Freaky Friday, which was the old Jodie Foster film, where she and her mother switch bodies for a day. You've seen the trope thousands of times. Only this time, Vince Vaughn is a serial killer, and he ends up in the body of a 15-year-old girl, and the 15-year-old girl ends up in the body of Vince Vaughn. So, makes it a little bit of a horror, quirky kind of twist. Love and Monsters. Dylan O'Brien in this. This was a very good movie. This was, if you liked all the 50s movies of, radiation caused giant bugs to become monsters, this is that brought to a modern era. It basically, we shot a meteor that was coming at us, was going to destroy the planet. We saved the planet from the meteor, but the fallout caused all these giant mutations. So everybody's living in little colonies. Dylan O'Brien's this lovable loser that everyone kind of protects because he's kind of clumsy, kind of not your brave hunter type. And he actually has to grow as a character through this film. So he doesn't just stumble luckily into surviving all the time. It's one of the things I liked about it. Mulan. Yeah, I think this actually did get released. I've seen the posters for it, so I'm pretty sure it hit somewhere. But this was supposed to be the big Disney movie for the year. It was right at the peak, I think, of going into quarantine, so it got screwed big time at the box office. Onward, however, came out in the nick of time. I do remember we saw this one in the theater, so this was early in the... God, was this still 2020? Yeah, it was. I verified it. It's 2020. Yeah, Love and Monsters is basically them, but with like centipedes, wasps, leeches, everything. It's all of them movies together in one. And people live in like tiny little colonies, and they have to, it's a hard life. Onward was, Disney Pixar's latest. Disney Pixar almost always makes the list because they usually make a good film. This is one of your choices. Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay. We could say that this one's going to speed to the finish line, or however you want to make a pun on it. Sonic the Hedgehog came out early in the year. I believe it was up against another superhero movie that didn't make the cut as far as best movies go. I'll be interested to see if anybody writes that one in, and I'm not even going to suggest what it is to give people the idea. But it was direct competition at the time. And finally, ending the year with Wonder Woman 1984, which I have not seen myself, so I can't attest to it one way or the other. I've seen good reviews and I've seen bad reviews. I'd be very, very interested to see that it's a bad movie because I really liked the first one. But we'll see how it goes when I finally do get around to seeing it myself. So there you have the nominees for Best Movie of 2020. No one's jumping in to chat us up just yet, which is fine. Y'all can just watch in the chat if you like, and I will just move on ahead. You'd like to nominate the U.S. horror film VFW with the soundtrack. Oh, okay, if it came out, yeah. Here's the thing: just write it in. It's a write-in vote. The only qualification we'll check, everybody's votes that are right in to make sure that it did come out in 2020. That's the same for a series. It doesn't have to be a new series of 2020. It could be like, fourth season of something. But if it was good, it was a good show, and it aired during that year, then have it on there. I liked to loved World War I Wonder Woman. Yeah, well, that was a good World War I Wonder Woman was a good one. I'm surprised they skipped World War II because that's really when she debuted in the comics. Why they put her in World War I don't know. Just to make her that much more immortal, I guess, and to avoid those whole, N to the A to the Z to the I things because we can't even show them as bad guys in movies anymore. Because someone may sympathize, I guess. But yeah, as long as it aired or produced or delivered in 2020, it's fair game. Throw it on the list. Add it on the list. So let's jump over to the best series now of 2020. Had a hard time naming this one because I'm like, we used to call it television shows, but now there's been so much streaming. So I'm just going with best series of 2020, and we'll see what the nominees are for here now. Hellstrom. This aired on Hulu. I have not seen this, so I don't know. I can't say whether it's good or not. Again, this is up to the fans and the readers to determine for themselves. The Mandalorian. Who didn't see this one coming? There's been so much talk about The Mandalorian this year that it was almost a shoo-in that it was going to end up on the list. This is obviously on the Disney Plus, all you Star Wars fans. The Queen's Gambit, a Netflix film. This was a very interesting series. I did watch this one. I was kind of engrossed with it. It's not exactly what you'd call a geek show unless you're a chess geek, which I kind of sort of am. So I enjoyed watching it for that reason. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out. Ratched. This is one I have not watched, but if you've watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you are aware of the character. Hey, Bap2, glad to have you in the chat here. Glenn, yeah, Mandalorian, the link to vote on all these things is right below in the description. So we're just kind of showing who the nominees are. We're going to vote all through January, and then February 1st at midnight, we're going to cut the voting off and find out who gets the trophies. But yeah, if you watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson, you're aware of the character. This is sort of one of those trips into the backstory. This is another Netflix series. Stargirl. This one I have watched, all of them, and I unabashedly love this one. We've been reviewing a lot of it. This airs on the DC Universe, but it also aired simultaneously on the CW, and now it's a CW series. You can't watch The Mandalorian because you know it ends at the Disney trilogy. Yeah, it's. I guess it's sort of like watching a car wreck before the wreck happens, knowing that it's going to happen. But you never know. I've heard that they're going to avoid the trilogy, so the Disney trilogy may be something different. The Boys in the Expanse, again, they could have been on the list, or could be on the list. We haven't got through this list yet, but they're not, so they can be added. The Great. I mean, yeah, if we put everything on it that we could have listed, we'd have just said, here's the TV guide. Go at it, guys. But we leave the other option there for people to write things in. The Great. This is a not true story about Catherine the Great, airing on Hulu. Definitely for mature audiences. I've watched some of this one. This one's kind of a weird one. The Umbrella Academy. This one's actually weirder than The Great, but it's an interesting one. This one airs on Netflix. It's kind of a superhero show where you don't really get to see much in the way of superheroics. It's just kind of like, we're time traveling again this season, and this is what happens this time. So if you've watched the show, you understand. If you haven't, you might get lost in it. So that's what we have for our best series. Bring me back here, and I'll shut that one down. I got slideshows for each of these, and I just don't want them being a mess all over our screens here. I'm bringing my list over here because we're going to enter some names, and I'm going to start forgetting who they are. So I have to cheat now and read off my notes. Oh, that was interesting. I didn't know I would do that. Let's not close down the StreamYards just because I'm trying to move some windows around. That would be bad. It would be weird. So it was a mess, huh? Well, that's the myth, and they talk about that in the story. Again, the Catherine the Great on Hulu actually has as part of its title that it's partially based on maybe true events of some kind. It's not at all an autobiography or biographical in any respects at all. It is kind of fun. Don't go chasing waterfalls. I would not. I would go over the waterfall. So moving on, we'll look at the best movie actor for 2020, and this is a much, much shorter list. So you will be free to add your own to this again as needs be. First up is Ariana Greenblatt from Love and Monsters. She really had some great lines in this movie, and that the few scenes that she was in, she really kind of chewed up. So that was good to have. Hey, look at that! We put the scene second. Okay, that's why it didn't show up. Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman 1984. I think that one probably was going to be an obvious choice there. Millie Bobby Brown for Enola Holmes. This was a good YA kind of film. It wasn't Sherlock Holmes, and I'm not sure that Superman makes a great Sherlock, but he also wasn't in it that much to worry about either. And then Robert Downey Jr. for his role in Dolittle. This was again, as I said, a very short list for best actors. It's interesting that we had some decent movies, but we didn't have movies that were so great that the actors stood out in them. Your mileage may vary. That's why you are encouraged and invited to nominate others on the list. They will get counted in the votes. Unless there's like the only vote out of 100, then it doesn't show up on the map when we show the graphs. We'll show the graphs when it's all said and done. We show a big pie chart of who got how many segments of the vote. So it's all shown who won and by how many. Best series actor coming up here. Oh, good. This one I did right. So, no, we like it better this way. Nominees for Best Series Actor of 2020. That would be Anya Taylor-Joy for The Queen's Gambit. April Bowlby for Doom Patrol. The Doom Patrol second season, I don't think it was as good. Could still be on the list. But regardless, her acting in this is still really, really good. I really like her in both of them. Breck Basinger for Stargirl. The guy who played Joe. Yeah, there was yeah, that's how good he was. He's like, what guy was that? I forgot Joker was this year. God, this has been a crazy year. Yeah, but he did a good acting job. He should definitely be in that. Anyway, Breck Basinger for her role in Stargirl. Elle Fanning for her role as Catherine in The Great. Gina Carano for The Mandalorian. Luke Wilson is a co-star in Stargirl. His supporting acting in this is really good. Yeah, I am moving back. All the stuff is gone from the bookshelves, and it's all in boxes over here. So I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going. Taking my time, and I don't know why. But I'm going to go somewhere. It depends on who calls me first. Luke Wilson, love him in Stargirl. He does a great job supporting that whole ensemble. Nicholas Hoult for The Great. He plays Peter, Emperor Peter, the son of Peter the Great. So he's Peter the Second, and he's kind of like the Prince Regent on Blackadder, only with a more of a killing edge to him. But huzzah! It's fun to kill people. He really enjoys being emperor and having people bow to him. Pedro Pascal for The Mandalorian. Good show, so you would expect that the lead actor would be nominated. And those are our Best Series Actor nominees. Again, as always, your nominations may vary. April is great as the last one, but mostly a terrible show. This second season, I absolutely agree. And I actually had opposite opinions for the first season. I thought that Doom Patrol season 1 was better than Titan season 1, but I thought Titan season 2 was better than Doom Patrol season 2. Doesn't Peter the Great kill his son? Not in the series. Again, the series is playing fast and loose with everything. It's like, yeah, these are the characters, but we're going to make them do what we want them to do. And his son does die in the first season, but not at Peter's hands. You got to watch it. Russian history has absolutely nothing to do with the Great. They admittedly throw that out the window. Man, I hesitate to move into this next one here, but it's a doozy of a list, folks. We're going to get into the best comic book / comic book story of 2020. Are you ready for this? But hey, do that. Anthony Starr as the Homelander, or as the series Homelander, or as the character Homelander, because I don't watch either show. But definitely do that. The nominees for Best Comic Book Story of 2020. The Adventures of Kim Il-sung and Best Korea. You didn't see that coming, did you? Dark Knight's Death Metal. Deceased, Dead Planet. Demon Hunter Raven. Told you guys, the crowdfunders are going to start squeezing in on these best ofs because they're putting out stuff that's on par and equal to some of the best of the long-standing publishers. Dynamite. See that cute little exclamation point in there? Which means that the word namite is just there because it's dynamite. This is Dynamite's We're Going to Make Everybody a Zombie series. So thank you, Heroinberg. Yeah, hit the like button if you like this channel. You want to support us and help us out. Subscribe so you don't miss a minute. You'll always be told when we're going to be on here. Usually we have guests, and they're far more interesting than I am. Dominion, Fall of the House of Saul from Terminus Media. This is this is the second book of Samuel done in a way that's Narnia meets Star Wars. Obviously, it's all anthropomorphic, and it's set in space, and it's lions flying spaceships with other animals. So check it out. It's definitely worth your while to read that one. Downcast. This is the image for Rise and Fall, which I don't think has come out, so it would qualify for 2020. If it has, then it does. But Downcast 1 definitely came out in 2020, so that is certainly eligible. That is Clint Stoker's book. Eudaimonia from Joshua Plack. Graveyard Shift, number 2, volume 2, from our friend John Malin. The Joker War. That's not like an individual book. This is a storyline. So it could be a storyline. It could be a book. It could be either one. We'll mix and match on this one. Common America. Did somebody say? Nope. I thought they did, but Common America came out this year. This is from Iconic Comics. So many to pick from. King in Black, the big event from Marvel this year. Kyrie, book 1. Lady Death, Malevolent Decimation number 1 from Coffin Comics. That's Brian Pulido's project. Lily and Wepwawet, Return of the Wild. This is from Tonic Comics. Niobe Birthright. This is Rebel Comics, Rebel Gaming's series. Punchline and the Vaudevillains. This is from Hero Tomorrow, Ted Sikora's outfit. It's a spinoff from Tap Dance Killer, which itself is a spinoff from Apama. Red Rooster, don't. I know, but it did come out in 2020. It just didn't come out the way we thought it would. Saving the World from Tonic Comics. Soulbound. Some of these people don't have an imprint. Hey, Don, thanks for showing up, man. We're going through. You just caught us at the best comic book nominations for the year, so stick around here. It's kind of weird and wild and woolly tonight. Starring Sonia Devereaux from American Mythology. This is the cover for the graphic novel they just crowdfunded, but Spider Shark versus Snake Bear came out this year, and I believe the Debutante Desperado came out earlier this year. So those books definitely qualify for Best of 2020. This is a very funny series, by the way. If you like good art, it's kind of like when you watch those USA Up All Night. It's like what Cinemax used to show right before it got too late for you to stay up. It's like the real soft stuff, but the funny stuff. T-Bird and Throttle. Doc Salem, you say? I've been told I should check that one out. Titan, Mouse of Might. That's another one I want to check out. So that one looks really good. I should read that one myself. I know it looks like Batman, but it's a mouse, so that makes it different. U.S. Assassin, Mark Polton and Mike McMahon. A Real American Ninja. I believe this is from the creators of Graveyard Shift. So, Vestry. I bet that's the last one since we're doing these in alphabetical order. What could possibly come after V for Vestry, right? Well, Villainous from Mad Cave could. Not a crowdfunded book, but an indie book. This was a very fun read. I did read this one, so this one's one you should check out. X of Swords. Everybody gets a sword. Scotty gets a lightsaber, I guess. So I didn't know there were that many swords in the Marvel universe and that they had power to them. Oh, Iceman just makes his own sword. So, yeah, swords. If you like swords, it's a sword show. It's a sword fight. So, oh, my mouse is on the wrong screen. I'll bring it back over here. Now I'll come over here in this StreamYard, this little show, the PowerPoint show. Start at the next one. Again, the voting for this is below. If you don't like the nominees, there is the option to write in. Encourage you to do so, and encourage you to share, your vote with other people. Say, hey, they didn't nominate this thing, which is obviously good. Go to this link and nominate my thing with it. So, you're allowed to campaign. Absolutely. What would I do to stop you anyway, right? Next up, Best Comics Writer for 2020. And the nominees are Bill Williams for Punchline, Clint Stoker, Downcast, Donnie Cates, Venom, James Tynion IV for Batman, Scott Snyder for Justice League, Tom Taylor for Deceased, Dead Planet. No, Robert, you do not have to vote in every category. You can skip whatever category you want. You can just vote in one category if you want and click submit and be done. You don't have to vote in everything. Because otherwise you'd just be like skewing the votes. You're like, it's not really the best, but I'm trying to get through it. So no, skip it if you don't like it. That's fine. And Tonic Mole for Lillian Wepwawet and Saving the World. Put out 2 books this year that were on our best comics of the year list. So well done, Tonic Mole. Somebody should maybe have told him he was going to be on the show this much tonight. He might have popped over and said hi. And now we will bring in the nominees for the Best Comics Artist of 2020. See, I got smart on this one. I put people's names on it, so I don't have to remember them. Brian and Brendan Frame for starring Sonia Devereaux. Kanan White for Grimm Fairy Tales. That's the book he worked on that was published in 2020. There were others, but he's done a lot of pinup work, and we've seen him doing other crowdfundings that haven't come out yet. But he has had stuff published this year. Really great artist. Dr. Darren Bell, writer and artist for Dominion, Fall of the House of Saul, and a doctor. So Gilliam March for his work on Batman. Illustrator Monk, the mysterious man whose no face has ever been seen, for his work contributing to Lily and Wepwawet. Jorge Jimenez for his work on Batman, or Superman. So I should have done that. Matthew Weldon for his work on just about everything, right? But everything that came out this year, which I believe we are going to just say is Punchline and Downcast. And Preston Acevedo for his work on, let's say it, Doc Salem. Yes. So there's a bunch of books out there I still need to read to find out if they're as good as our nomination list is saying. But, you know, them's the breaks. If you've read them and you disagree, cool. I disagree with the Oscars every year, so you're not going to hurt our feelings. Get out there and vote. We have one other category here. There's no nominees for this one. This is based on our Bombshell of the Month. Critical Blast does a monthly cosplay feature where we invite one cosplayer to just, tell us about themselves, answer some questions, show off their art form, and through some pictures, and they become our Bombshell of the Month. So the 12 bombshells that we had this year are eligible, 1 in 12 chance, really, depending on how the voting goes, of becoming our Critical Blast Bombshell of the Year. So let's find out who they were this year. January was Strange Cosplay. February, Jade Martinez. Here she's showing off a Harbinger cosplay. March, Shady Hayes in Superboy. April, Lord Alexander as the clown from Spawn. May, Noe Nikki as Black Cat. June, God of Mischief UK. Notice he's got the little Odin. He's hidden Odin under one of the cups. July, Booster Gold New York. Ironically wearing Green Arrow outfit attire, but he does cosplay as Booster Gold apparently a lot. August, Euphoria. Now that's a cheetah costume that looks pretty good. Probably looks better than the one in the movie. And again, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't judge for sure. September, Saint Hysteria. Doing some Witcher cosplay here. October, Katie DeCobre as, I know that character. Hey, that's Wonder Woman, yes, of course. November, Erica Williams as Lucy saving Star Trek, which is a true story, by the way. Lucy, owned Desilu Studios. They wanted to cancel Star Trek. She said, no, keep it on. So she's the reason why we got a second season of Star Trek and why it continued. And December, Edwin Davis. So those are our 12 cosplay bombshells of the month for 2020. One of them will become the Bombshell of the Year, and we will be sending them out their trophy. Traditionally, they do an acceptance video. We hope that tradition will continue. They don't have to, but it's very nice when they do. So those are our nominations in all the categories this year. you get some time tonight, pop down there, hit that link, share that link out to everybody. Campaign for the ones that you like. Tell people that these are out there, whether it's on the list, whether it's off the list. Just share it out there. Build the traffic up on this thing. I'd love to see some real serious voting going on this year in the categories that we have. Not that it hasn't been serious before, but obviously, first year was kind of light. Second year, a little bit better. We've done well over the past couple of years as far as the votes go. But I'd like it to become something that everybody knows about. Like, the Critical Blast Awards came out. Just to make it worth something to the people who win it, so that they win something that people know what it is or that they've heard of. So that's our year in review. We're looking at the good stuff. I'm sure there was a lot of other good stuff that should have been on the list. But as you've seen with the best comics list, we could have been going on another hour if we'd have put up everything that was really, really good this year in comics. And it would have 90% all come from crowdfunding, guaranteed. So, Robert, I know exactly what you're thinking with, and that's okay. And Haroldberg, you're right there, Haroldberg. There's way too many Black Cats and Gal Gadots, but you know what? They probably are still outnumbered by all the Harley Quinns, and that's been going on for years. Brian from Blastbeat, how you doing, man?
You interrupted me. I was typing you a message, but hey, I'm online, so I'll just tell you right now.
Hey,
so, good evening, everyone. If you didn't notice, and you probably didn't, I missed the last LCS show because I had some personal business that came up, but I'm still in the mix. And for tonight, I got some notes. First, Happy New Year. As you can see, I'm dressed up for tonight. I have to work in the morning. Exactly. So what you see is what you get. But I love the nominations. Love the show. Let's kick it up a notch. Let's do top 5 best metal albums of the year.
All right.
Run this down real quick. It's actually 6, okay? Because 5th spot is a tie. It's 2 bands who had a massive return to form this year. So tied for number 5, we have Hatebreed with Weight of the False Self and Testament with Titans of Creation. They've been around for decades. By now, you either love them or you hate them, Both of those albums are a reminder why you like that band in the first place. It's one of those, thumbs up, keep it going. So number 4, Ohms by the Deftones. Obviously, everyone knows what happened this year with the Wuhan Boogie. I really wish the Deftones could have toured on that because that album is amazing. I can't wait to see those songs live. So if you've ever liked a Deftones song in your life, the new album is great. Where are we at? Number 3, Cro-Mags, In the Beginning. I'm not going to break down the whole history of the Cro-Mags. Long story short, the 2 founders sued each other and the band broke in half. So the half that's the bass player and the guitar player, as opposed to the half that's the singer and the drummer, they put out an album called In the Beginning it doesn't sound like a band that's been around since like 1984. It sounds new. It sounds fresh. They've totally got their second wind. Check it out. Number 2, Skeletal Remains. The album's called Entombment of Chaos. If anyone out there likes the old Florida death metal from the 90s, Obituary, Morbid Angel, that kind of stuff, this is your record. That sound is still alive. There's still gas left in the tank. Are you ready for number 1? Are you ready for what I consider the best metal, heavy rock, whatever you want to call it, album of the year? Underneath by Code Orange. Okay, so let me break down the Code Orange thing. They are the most innovative heavy band right now. They were supposed to have a big year this year. They had that album came out. It was very well received. They had their headlining club tour canceled. They were supposed to open for Slipknot this summer, and that got canceled. So did they sit around crying and singing the blues? They became the kings of live streaming. Everyone's doing it. They do it a little different. Imagine Austin Powers directed by Martin Scorsese with music that sounds like getting run over by a tank. It is intense. it's one of those like that. There's that book, the 1,000 albums you have to listen to before you die by Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
This is one of those albums. You got to at least listen to it once. So that's my top 5 heavy music albums of the year. Hope everyone has a good year. Hope everyone, let's get a little philosophical for a second. There's a lot of chatter on the internet, the monolithic entity called the internet that, this next year is going to be as worse as this year. Next year is going to be what you make of it. All right. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, even if it's at 2 p.m. and hungover, that's your choice of what you're going to do. You can get run over by the system or you can make it happen.
Look, this year already took away Dawn Wells from us. It can't suck any more than that.
If you ever heard of a rapper named MF Doom, seriously, he died like 2 hours ago. They got one more celebrity death in before the end of the year.
Damn it. Well, we got a guy wanting to buy comic books from you, Brian. So Bap2 is asking, do you have the IDW Transformers versus Terminator 4 books?
I will go hunt them down because he is about the 5th person who's asked me about those IDW various Transformer collections. I get the hint. There's demand. Let me go check it out. There's resources around here in Texas that thank the Lord we're a booming place and all that. Oh, no. We got a Heroinberg who was schooling me. I have not listened to that. Now I've got homework to do. I don't even think I've Garmarna. I never heard of that. Seriously, that's why we take notes. Let me write that one down.
Garmarna Forbandet. That there's not even there's not an English word in that entire. They're like, you got to name the band? I don't know. Throw the Scrabble tiles out.
That record company, Seasons of Mist, they're based out of France. So yeah, I can only imagine they're from somewhere like deep in Eastern Europe.
Yeah. However, but we know the Code Orange kids. They're from Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, I mean, they had the Mr. Roboto project and a couple of venues where tours would come through, but largely Pittsburgh had been off the map for years, and now they've got a big band. They've got Code Orange. So, yeah, great job, Pittsburgh. I missed that?
I told Yule's in the chat. I said, pop on in here, Yule.
Oh, yeah. We'll real quick. Not an endorsement. More of an addiction at this point.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So did you see all the nominations we had for all the categories? Because it was.
I might have missed the first one. I saw the comic books. I saw the artists and writers. I saw the cosplay. What else did I miss?
Movies, series, and actors in both. So it was best movie, best series, best movie actor, best series actor.
Man, I'm not the one to ask about that. I've been too busy reading comic books and listening to records. I don't know if I saw a movie that came out this year. And I'm totally serious about that.
I don't think I have. Hey,
I take that back. I saw The King of Staten Island. I really liked that one. I know Pete Davidson's not everyone's cup of tea, but I went through some of that in my younger years. I identified with it.
We thought Yule was going to pop in. Is your dad there?
What was that?
Is your dad there? We thought Yule was going to come on.
What are you talking about? I'm babyface, baby. I have another thing I'm doing. I just stopped in to say hi. Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas to those of you we didn't say that to.
As Eddie Murphy said, Merry New Year.
Merry New Year. Happy all that other stuff.
What we call it, Chris Mahana Kwanzaa.
Mm-hmm. That's the one. That's all of them. Anyway, like I said, I'm just saying hi. Are we getting together Saturday? I can't remember.
No, we're not getting together Saturday. We decided to let everybody, recover from the New Year's. We will reconvene on 3, 4, 5.
A little business here, everybody.
Make another note.
January 16th, the LCS guys will return.
Awesome. Well, like 21. I said, if you need anything from me when I'm not doing something normally, I'm not going to plug my other thing right now, but
go ahead.
Over on Talkin' Vols at 6 or 9, depending on what coast you're on, we talk wrestling for an hour, and it's going to be like a year-end thing, kind of like you guys are doing right now.
Yeah, the wrap-up.
Yeah. Best ofs.
Exactly. Oh.
Anyway, hey guys, thank you very much for having me on, RJ. Brian, it was nice meeting you this year. I can't wait till we get together next year.
That's been my fringe benefit this year. Maybe it's a bigger than a fringe benefit, but I think y'all know I've like been forced out of the music world like everyone else and came back into comics. And I made a lot of really good friends this year. And if it weren't for the technology and the interest and all that, it wouldn't have happened. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you next year.
See you. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year for meeting people. This show has just brought me into contact with so many people, and I've learned so much about crowdfunding. And Brian, have I told you about Critical Blast Logistics?
Briefly, I know that it's like it's a shipping operation, right? You're not like looking for new artists or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to make a comic book yet, although I'm starting to toy around with the idea.
Yeah, me too.
It depends on what I can save up to pay an actual artist to do some pages. But logistics wise, we're targeting all our friends in the UK and Australia and Canada to help them get their shipping costs down to pretty much the same thing that the Americans are charging for domestic shipping, because that's what's really pulling people back when they want to buy something from, this looks like a great comic. Oh, it's like $25 shipping. Not going to pay that. So.
Oh yeah, we started off as pen pals on Facebook a million years ago, but I got a really good friend, shout out Jorge Eastman in Essen, Germany, that we have the same musical taste. And so back in the touring days, he would constantly ask me, hey, so-and-so's coming to town. Can you buy me a shirt? And no problem. I'll buy you a shirt. But I pay $25 for the shirt. It's $35 to mail it to Germany. Yeah, it's out of control.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with these people in building their crowdfunders. It's too late if you've already got your crowdfunder going pretty much. But we're going to figure out, we can tell you what to price your shipping at for the U.S. domestics, and then it'll be a drop ship to us, after which point we will take care of the bagging, the boarding, the Gemini mailer, the taping, the labeling, and the mailing, including getting a tracking number emailed to your recipient, which is something you can't do if you ship direct to customer from outside the United States to your partner. You can track it within your own country, but once it's out of the country, you have no idea where it goes.
I did not know that. I don't know if anyone's been to Europe and had to cross the various borders over there, but you talk about a roll of the dice with no tracking number going through country to country. Oh, wow. Yeah,
exactly.
That's a big innovation right there.
So getting it to us, when we print the label out, immediately an email will be generated to each recipient saying, your copy of this book from this publisher is under this tracking number, and they can track it all the way to their doorstep. But that I thought of that, and I thought, this is too stupid to actually be something that nobody's doing. And yet nobody was doing it in that particular sense of the use of it.
No, hey, we can't predict the future, but it sounds like you're about to boss hog that market. I hate that crappy business talk like that, but it is what it is. There's major demand, and there's a big hurdle getting the physical product from here to there.
Yes, and the funny thing is that our first client is in the U.S. I was like, I can't save you any shipping. In fact, it's probably going to cost you with our fees. He's like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, that I get. You're buying your time back. But I started looking into the future on this a little bit. Brian was like, I thought, well, if you ship us 100 books because you sold 100 books, ship us 125. That way, if you go in demand, which you probably did, you don't have to ship again to these people. We'll just, let us know to ship them one, and we'll send it out. But as I was thinking of that, I was like, well, if you're going to overship small, why not overship a little bit bigger? Because what I started thinking then is that what if I've got to the point where I've got 3 or 4 or 5 campaign people who are working with us now, and I've got a bit of a warehouse of overstock going, and I say, hey, Brian, down in Austin, your comic shop here, I know that you want some of these limited edition, hard to find import comics. What if I were able to give you 2, some Charlie's London, some Merry Boys, some Lucent, some, all this other stuff, And instead of buying it from him and from her and from her and from him and from him and shipping and shipping and shipping and shipping and shipping, I put them in one box, and you pay me, I pay it back to them, and you have one shipping charge for 5 different campaigns.
It honestly sounds like a dream come true. Because let's get philosophical again real quick. That I think that the big problem may be the wrong word. The cautious area, especially the crowdfunders have, is you're chugging away, you're working hard, and then you get hot. And eventually, if you stick with it, whatever you do, you're going to get hot at some point in your life. You don't want to have getting hot and no one can find your stuff because you're out in the weeds distribution-wise. And then the other thing is, let's use Metallica as the example. Everyone knows the Black Album that sold 18 million copies or all that. And I was in high school when that came out. And the people who aren't like diehard metalheads in the underground, they hear the Black Album, like it, and then, hey, those guys have 4 albums before this one. So that's where what you were talking about the box of the different series, that if someone gets hot for something else, hey, I got their old stuff. You know, it's, you don't want to leave money on the table is the point.
And, you know, we should probably think about doing retailer tiers for brand new things where they're like, you know, hey, we want to send, you know, we want to buy 50 copies of something, or, you know, 5 copies of something more realistic. That should, you know, come through us as well. It'd be a different package. So you saw the comment I just put up there from Heroinberg?
Yeah, that's what I was writing down. I got a lot of homework to do.
Lady Beast. So you're going to have a lot of cool music to listen to. Maybe ring in the news with it. So
I heard a quote once of the Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys. They asked him what new bands he listened to. It's like, I don't listen to any new bands because I went to high school in the 70s and 80s, and I'm still trying to get caught up from the 70s from all the good stuff back then. I haven't even got to now, and it's, I can identify with that.
Yeah. And, you know, you talk about that thousand albums to listen to before you die. It might take you until you die to go through 1,000 albums.
Well, the sidetrack, let me tell a 60-second story real quick. Back in college, you know, you got to take the arts credits, right? A lot of people take theater class or whatever. I took film appreciation. And the whole thing was, we're going to watch movies and just write papers on them. That's an easy A. That's why I registered for the class. We get into the class. I actually really enjoyed it. We watched stuff like Freaks. We watched American Splendor. We watched the Al Pacino robs the bank, Dog Day Afternoon, you know, stuff like that. Of like, who cares if it's famous or it made all this money? Here's the good stuff. So that took it on myself to watch the AFI 100 Greatest Films list. Yeah, it took like 2 years.
Oh, I can't even imagine trying to watch 200 films. There are films that, you know, for being what was initially a movie review website, I'm embarrassed to admit I haven't seen. It wasn't until like 5 years ago I saw Casablanca.
Yeah.
And I have yet to see Citizen Kane.
That's one we did watch in the class. And that, when you watch Citizen Kane, don't just Netflix it one day when you're bored. Look up the companion materials to it. All the backstory about Orson Welles and the deep focus and him building the sets. And there's a part in the movie where all of a sudden, you know, Charles Kane starts limping. He really got hurt while they were filming there and just kept going in the scene. It is a great work of art.
Wow. Now, I know why it was great. I mean, you know, I've read about it and stuff. And I think that if anybody watched it today without understanding, you know, movies before Citizen Kane, BC, and after, you know, before Citizen Kane, it was all like, you know, straight on shot.
Yep.
Just and Orson Welles was, you know, the one who said, you know, let's get in an odd angle here. Let's really, you know, make the viewer feel kind of uncomfortable and like, oh, wait a second, why are we looking at it like this?
You know, it's another film that did the same thing you're talking about. And trust me, this is no endorsement of the. It's actually for the film school, film scholar people. This is The Great Shame. Triumph of the Will was a very innovative film with camera work. Yeah, the subject matter is a tad sketchy, but it really is. It broke open the doors for a lot of things, like everything from Rio Bravo to Bullet to even Star Wars. It wouldn't have happened if that didn't happen first, subject matter aside.
Yeah, and you know, the impact of Citizen Kane and Triumph of the Will on comics
Yeah.
was also there because, again, comics were a straight-on camera shot as well, so to speak. And when Orson Welles did Citizen Kane, you started seeing people draw panels, the camera, the artist camera had moved, and you were seeing them from different angles, and it was catching people's attention in comic books.
And it's why I get so emotionally distressed with bad movies in the modern era, where the technology is easier to use, you can keep your budgets under control, yada yada. That there's no imagination left, or it's not being used properly. It's. I'm trying. I can't think of how to say it, but it doesn't take much to stand out from the pack if someone's willing to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Here's a better way to say it. Is how comic books and movies dovetail into each other. A motion picture, right? A still picture, right? All you're doing is just making the panels connect together in, real time. But they're just so similar, and I don't see why I hate comic book movies. I hate that influence stuff. It's the primary influence.
Yeah, and they're both sequential art.
Yes.
Scott McCloud breaks that down. It's technically, if you want to look at each frame one at a time, it's a very, 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 very long comic book read very, 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 very quickly.
I got that book on the shelf over there. I love the part in the book where I can't remember what the phrase is. Please help me out. But your brain fills in the action in between the panels. That's what a movie does for you. But when you're sitting there reading it, you have to do it yourself. It's the difference between a hot and a cool medium. I know I'm going into communications theory here.
Yeah.
But the point is it's not the same dumbass stuff everyone sees every day.
Yeah, and the best example he gives when he talks about that, you've got the two panels where the man's coming at the woman with a knife, and then the second panel is a shot exterior of the house and somebody's screaming. He's like, what happened? Well, did he stab the woman and she screamed? Did he trip over something and cut himself in the leg and he screams? A murder's been committed, but it was committed by the reader because they're the ones who made it happen between the two panels and made the action, built the movie in their head.
You know what? I think that's the difference between art and entertainment, at least for me. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that like the slasher movies and the horror movies and stuff like Saw and all that. That has never done anything for me. First, I don't like the blood and the guts. But second, it's the same story all the time and it's not very good. But then you have someone like Hitchcock, right? The shower scene in Psycho. It's all left to the imagination. It's what you said of where we're alluding to it. We're not having an extreme close-up on it. I like that better.
Yeah. And you know what? It's, again, how the viewer or the reader puts the action together. That is being done for us now, even in comics. We don't get to build the story between the panels. Very few comic writers and art teams take advantage of what the medium can do. And if you've read a page or four of talking heads in a 3x3 grid, Tom King, I'm looking at you. Then you
we'll get to that in a second here.
It should not be done. If you want to see comics the way they should be done,
I think a lot of that stuff goes back to what you said a couple weeks ago about the I Am Not Starfire. It's just this ego stroking, self-congratulatory nonsense. You're writing for you and not for the public. And it goes into that. You're talking about the Twitter scandal from this week. Look it up for yourselves, people. I don't want to get into the details of that. But
yeah, that's fun too. And that was
my problem with that isn't the subject matter. I had two problems with it. One, in the page I saw, I think it was Tom King, it's 4 pages of someone talking on the phone.
Yes.
I don't care if you're William Shakespeare, all right? Nobody wants to see anyone talking on the phone. I don't want to see it in real life, much else on a comic book, And it's an artistic cheat because you draw one headshot, right? And then you over from panel to panel and you kind of change the lips a little bit, or the eyes look this way, and it's laziness. And then, because I got 3 problems with it. All those writers, again, look this up for yourself, not talking smack. I think they're all guilty of it. you're not so precious and so cute that everyone's hanging on every word you say. If you're that good, go to Broadway and do a one-man show. Go be David Mamet. Don't. Yeah. It's what you said. You're not taking advantage of the medium. You're not using what makes this special.
If you want to see somebody who takes advantage of the medium, who does the thing in comics that only comics can do, the obvious choice is to say, look at Alan Moore's Watchmen and read that, because that's a master class in what a comic book can do. But one that's overlooked and is more modern is Jimmy Gownley. Look at any one of his Amelia Rules graphic novels and what he does with the comic book medium and the surprises that he pulls out of his hat. You could not do that in a novel. You could not do that with an animated cartoon. Just the timing and the pace. It's a hilarious book with gut punches. It's like hey, let's have some fun. Oh, did that hurt? Sorry, let's run on some more here. He does this.
I haven't looked at that guy. I got more homework to do now. But the classic example that I always think of is The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. It's a personal favorite of mine. It might be my all-time favorite. I've really got like a shining thing with that series. If you don't know the backstory on it, depending on how you look at it, it's either the primary influence on the first Matrix or completely plagiarized by the first Matrix. But either way, the Wachowskis and Grant Morrison, everyone involved agree that was the only way an Invisibles movie was going to get made. And it's like what you said, you couldn't do that in a novel. You need the visual component. There were some high concept ideas in that first time the public had seen them. That's a great work of art.
Yeah, it absolutely is. He kind of lost his mind after a while.
Yeah.
but it was still very good stuff. Gownley does this thing where just for pacing in a comic book, he has one of these little girls, their dad gets called to Iraq. And so, when the book came out, and she's talking about, he's going to be gone for 2 years. And you're reading the panel. She's telling her friends, like, and I sat down and I figured out how long 2 years is. I figured out the number of months, the number of days, the number of minutes. And she gives this really long number. She says, and she's hugging him goodbye at the airport while she's talking over it. And she's like, it's 8,362,425 seconds. And her father walks away, and you turn the page, and it's just her standing in the background in a field of white. And it just says 1001. She started counting, and I was like, I'm choking up reading this kid's book just from that description there. And you couldn't do that without the timing of being able to turn the page and get hit just at that moment. Now, he does a lot of other funnier stuff with it, too, that you couldn't do in regular books. But it's a matter of taking full advantage of the medium. It's content container. He puts good content in a good container.
And it's not this push the envelope stuff. I think the world is done with that. The Marilyn Manson freak out the squares thing. After this year, how could anyone be freaked out by anything? But shout out to the great Ryan Wynn, that me and him had a conversation last week or sometime where he does a series called Gods and Gears. Everyone should check it out. It's like a G-rated Indiana Jones, total crowd pleaser kind of book. And what we realized is it's very easy to go Andrew Dice Clay. Load up your script with a bunch of F words and nudity and this and that. That's easy to do. What's hard to do is G-rated family entertainment that's of quality. Stuff like Toy Story, that's a really tough nut to crack.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Bill Cosby was great at it for Bill Cosby.
Yeah, until we learn about his personal life.
Exactly. It's like, why did we have to lose Bill's, the Bill Cosby we knew and loved?
I guess another way to look at it, and trust me, I'm not excusing Bill Cosby's Me Too stuff, but he was so talented and so funny that NBC and Paramount Pictures and all these billion-dollar corporations overlooked all of that because he was so good.
Well, it got swept under the rug for many, many years by somebody.
Until he was no longer profitable. Here's another nugget of wisdom for everyone out there. If you lie down with dogs, you're going to get fleas, right? So it's like the mafia. Yeah, things are going good now. Man, as soon as you don't make money for them anymore, guess what's about to happen?
Yeah, if you're not an earner,
exactly. So
you get to retire.
What does that have to do with anything? I think we're all learning the hard way with the fate of Diamond and DC and Marvel and everything else. You got to own your own business. You got to own the rights to your creations. You have to, being in the machine, the Hollywood machine, the whatever machine, it's like the mafia. It's going to end badly. Steer your own ship.
Yeah, because eventually your book's not going to sell. You're going to be cut off the title, and everything you put into it and everything you created in it belongs to them. And they're going to give it to somebody else to write. And, one day you'll look and you'll say, that's my child. He has piercings and a tattoo now, and he swears a lot, but I created him.
Yep. Here's a horror story for everyone. Another tale from the music industry. There's a great band called Clutch, and they're another one. They've been around since, 89, 90, something like that. They've been on a lot of different record companies in that time, and they've, over the years, gotten the rights to their albums back, except for 4 or 5 of them. I know 2 of them are on a record label called Earache out of England, and they live here in the States. The laws are so crazy in England. What it would cost to sue Earache to get the rights back to the albums, it's not worth the future sales they would get. So they got to kiss those goodbye. And then they were on Atlantic Records, owned by Warner Brothers. And that's what you said. We own these. We're never going to reprint them. We're never going to put them on Spotify or anything, but you ain't never getting them back because they are Warner Brothers property.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, Warner Brothers and music industries, I actually had a copyright notice on one of my videos from BMG that I won. So,
do tell.
Yeah, we had back in December. It's still December. God, this has been a long year. we live streamed a watch party of a public domain movie called Santa Claus versus the Devil. And it was, from the 50s. And the opening theme song was a version of Jingle Bells. It was the only music in it, so I can't imagine what else BMG would have struck on it. And I got the note that says, BMG has, struck your video claiming copyright. You can fight this. And then it came with a little, hey, by the way, if you do fight this, it can have adverse reactions for your channel. And I looked at that and said, you know what? Screw it. I was on the public domain website for films, streaming it directly from the source. Here's the link to it. This is who you want to go strike, not me. And, it was like 3 days later, and it said, BMG has dropped their strike. I was like, good. I don't think that's ever happened before.
And it's not just them. It's all the people like that. They're arrogant millionaires who think they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. I believe it was Disney. I could be wrong, but I think it was Disney. Tried to once upon a time said they own the rights to the Happy Birthday song, which was written in the 1700s. Oh, one of them.
In fact, there's a really good Teen Titans Go episode done by Warner Brothers about that very thing. When Beast Boy has a birthday, and they're about to sing "Happy Birthday" to him, and Robin rushes and says, "Don't do it! We can't afford it." And because they don't sing the Happy Birthday song to him, Raven says, "Well, this very bad cosmic thing happens, and a very bad cosmic thing does, and they have to come up with a new birthday song to be able to sing to him." And of course, the irony is that it's a song created on a Warner Brothers show. So if anybody plays it, Warner Brothers is going to strike them.
And there's another dimension to that, because you talk about stuff owned by Warner Brothers. I'm a big Adult Swim fan. It's easier for me to list off the shows I don't like because I like so many of them. All that stuff is right. The Venture Brothers is a personal favorite. That's owned by Warner Brothers. That company is so big, they don't even know what they own. I think Disney kind of forgot they own Marvel Comics. They thought they just bought the rights to the movies. It's like, no, you own the whole thing.
Yeah, well, and Warner is that huge, and they're just a part of AT&T.
Yeah, no kidding.
Didn't we break up that
channel? AT&T has made it clear they don't care about this stuff.
Oh, no, they don't. I've heard it described on videos before where, imagine the AT&T guy who gets assigned to go visit DC Comics after the purchase. And it's like, Okay, so we own Batman now, right? What are the numbers selling like on Batman? Well, here you go. This is 80,000. Like 80,000 comic books? Yeah. Is that like in Chicago? No, that's it.
Yep.
Why the hell is this not selling more than, and honestly, why is it not?
If I had to sum it up in one sentence, decades of mismanagement. They were so tied into that. The whole thing, the reason the accountants love the direct market so much is they can accurately predict sales 90 days out. They were not going to let that go. Even if they killed the whole industry, which they almost did, that's the only business that had that kind of model, and they just wrote it into the dirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes no sense why there's more than 80,000 Batman fans. Why is this thing not selling? Mismanagement.
Yeah, absolutely. You took it out of the mainstream market where everybody could find it.
Yeah. Put it in a store people go to. Comic book stores have the same problem as record stores, where mentally picture you're a 12-year-old kid in 2020, and all this stuff is new to you. You're waking up to a new world of superheroes and movies and this and that, right? So you walk into the comic book store. First off, you're instantly overwhelmed by all the crap in every comic book store that ever existed, even the nice ones that are lit and clean and dusted. It's just cavalcade of what in the world did I walk into? And then, Superman, Spider-Man, you haven't heard of any of this other 90% of this stuff. There's still people now that don't know The Walking Dead was a comic book, so there's a barrier to entry that needs to go away.
Road to Perdition.
Yeah.
Was a graphic novel. Nobody knows
Men
that.
in Black.
Yeah. It's that and that's why they make the movies, because they quit making comic books to be comic books. They've made comic books to be movie pitches. Which is why they read like an elevator pitch instead of like a fully fleshed out story.
My theory on that is the cowards who run Hollywood, no offense, cowards, but you're doing a bad job. First off, they don't make movies that can stand on their own anymore. Let's use The Usual Suspects as an example. That wasn't a franchise. There weren't a bunch of sequels. That was one good movie, one good story. There's no interest in that because you can't make a Usual Suspects roller coaster, right? So all the writers who used to do stuff like Taxi Driver and Raging Bull and those kind of movies, now they do what you say. It's these elevator pitches of a comic book from 4 decades ago.
Yeah. Which, as a comic book fan, I would like to see more of those movies if they were done well, and they haven't been.
And I wonder if the good stuff is like an accident. And what I mean by an accident is I really enjoyed the Daredevil series on Netflix. I thought that was very well done. But
I've seen season 1. I haven't watched the second season yet.
The second season with the Punisher. That's the one you got to watch. 900 thumbs up.
Okay, I'll get back to that one. I watched like the first 2 episodes of it, and I got distracted. I started watching Sabrina today because season 4 popped up. So I'm like, okay, the new one. Where it's all Satanism and wokeness.
I don't mind darker. I mind telling people how to think. That's the memory hole. That's the thought police. Not getting into that, but with the Daredevil and some of the other series like that, I swear it's an accident because all the other stuff is junk, and it's like the broken watch theory. Broken watch is right twice a day. It's here's the one we got right for reasons we can't figure out.
Well, because Daredevil should have been, a street level thing. They don't have the budget to do it, but I think they'd have a lot more success with these Avengers characters if they were able to tell long form stories with them. If they were able to, if they could, there should have been an Iron Man series and a Captain America series, and never cross over until it's time for a movie, and then you would have an event.
But what do you think of this? I think a big missed opportunity for Marvel was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, because they could have done like what you said every week. The Batman villains from the 60s, bring in a new Marvel character, and Why not put Wolverine in there? Why not put the Punisher in there? I mean, they do stuff like they put Deathlock in there, or Deathlock. They put, the new Ghost Rider, the Robbie Ramirez,
Right.
with the one with the car, not the motorcycle. They do all these like J and K list character, not even a C list, like a Q list character. And they should have done what you said. Put once a month, take one of the big characters, put them on the TV show, and then you're kind of keeping it alive in the psyche of America that, hey, something bigger's around the corner. And instead, what we got was a show about, the platoon sergeant and S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, man, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still on?
I think it ended.
Did it end? Okay.
I definitely tuned out years ago, but I think it was last year or the year before they had their final season.
I watched the first season. I was not fully impressed to get into the second season. I saw it was on my Netflix queue. I'm like, okay, add it to the side here. One of these days I will sit down and watch Jessica Jones and Power Man and Hero for Hire, or the Defenders rather. But I'm still making my way through Daredevil.
And that's also a thing of like, you're not a teenager anymore, and there's only so much time in the day. There's only so many steps you can take in a day. I'm not wasting it on garbage. And it's definitely, as a reader, literature, nonfiction, comic books, anything where I'm sitting down and reading, I could tell at about 5 pages where this is going to be good or not. Don't judge a book by its cover, right?
No, you just
kind of tell where it's going by the cover.
Yeah, that's why I like Mike Barron stuff, and writers need to do what Mike Barron says. Grab the reader by the throat and drag them along to the end of the story, right from the beginning.
And stop writing for yourself, not you, the weirdos out there. Nobody. Here's the problem with complaining, and it's not just comic books. It's anything in life. When you complain, I sit here. What happened to me at work today? Blah blah blah. 2/3 of the people hearing that could care less.
Yeah.
The other third are glad it happened to you. Nobody's going to support you. Stop complaining.
Oh, well, we used to have a category for best books, and we used to have a category for best movie or best music. And we lost people on the staff who were interested in either one because it was just too much work to keep up with books and the movies, the music. More the books, because it was like they're long form things, and there weren't any good ones anymore.
I imagine the book world is a lot like the music world, where I don't care what style you like. If you like jazz or country or big band or whatever, 90% of it is garbage. Seriously, 90% of it you could just throw in the dumpster right now. The point of being a critic, and not a critic being critical, but a critic, me as a critic, every time I wrote a review, I never slammed people. If I didn't like it, I ignored you. I'm trying to celebrate the good stuff, right? So you're looking for a needle in a stack of needles. You're trying to analyze that 10% of the good stuff and find the great stuff. I can only imagine the book world is probably worse in that regard.
Yeah, there've been plenty of books where I'm like, I'm halfway through it. I'm like, is it unethical to review a book halfway through it and not know the ending?
I just write the review. Hey, I made it halfway through this thing. I couldn't take it anymore. Buyer beware.
Exactly. Herrenberg, I also am looking forward to the Invincible animated series. That's I forget where that's going to show up at. That was is that an Amazon one?
Is it Amazon? Is it Amazon or Hulu? I know it's coming out. And I told you this weeks ago on the other show that I feel very burned by the end of The Walking Dead. It's going to take me a while to get over my Kirkman issue. Have a beginning, middle, and an end, please.
The end of the comic book series or the end of the...
Both of them. I hated both of the endings. Yeah, I got a cramp in my foot. Excuse me.
Oh, stand up, walk it out, man. Yeah, because nobody knew the end was coming.
No, they just stopped. I don't want to give it away in case anyone wants to read it, but the end of the Walking Dead comic book is such a cop-out. I will spoil it. They jump 10 years in the future and everyone's happy and holding hands. Really? That's how we're ending this thing?
Oh, well, I guess we won somewhere along the way in some fashion that I couldn't figure out how to fight it. And we just did. We just won.
I mean, that's like in the first Star Wars, being in the control room back on the planet, and all of a sudden the X-Wing fighters come back. Hey, guess what we did? What am I watching here? You left out the big part.
Go out there and blow up the Death Star. They're on their way back. Yay, we did it. Oh, good.
No one wants to watch that. I know I've said this 50 times tonight, but it's a big concern for me. Creators need to stop being selfish. Stop writing about yourself. No one cares. Expand the art form. And what I mean by that is, one, stop doing the same thing over and over and over. No more slasher stuff. No more garbage superheroes. And take your life experiences and put your spin on it. That's cool. But don't air your dirty laundry. Nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly. BAP2 says 90. You made the same sentence here. 90% of books anymore are trash. That's there's actually a name for that. That's called Sturgeon's Law, coined by science fiction writer Theodore Sturgeon, and it's basically 90% of anything is crap. I think that's an exact wording of the way he said it too.
And the thing with that is, because you put out a bad comic book, bad movie, bad record, whatever, it doesn't mean you stay bad forever. There are plenty of bands. I hated their early stuff, and whoa, all of a sudden these guys got good. That happens. You got to not worry about the flash in the pan, who's hot right now, and just kind of follow your muse. That's my advice.
Herwenberg confirms that Invincible is on Amazon Prime. God, I can't afford all these streaming services here. I know the idea was, to get away from cable and you can go a la carte, but now it's like, no, it's 3 times more the cost of my cable bill to have 5 streaming services just because they all have a show I want to watch on them now.
In a long away time called the late 90s, when I was in the Army, we had cable in the barracks, if anyone can remember that. And I'd had that thought of, like, I'm paying this cable bill, and the only channels I watch are ESPN, Comedy Central, and HBO. Can I not just get those 3? But then, like what you said happened. Yeah, you can get those 3, but you got to pay 3 different cable bills now. It's like, oh, this got worse, not better.
Yeah, because you had the commercial spread across the spectrum, no pun intended, that was buoying up the low runners with the high runners, and now it's like, well, you are the sponsor of the show now. You want to watch the show, you're going to pay for everything. Everything's premium.
Now, the good thing about that, I haven't seen it done yet, but there's a potential for it, is Seinfeld. Everyone knows Seinfeld. If you don't know Seinfeld, you need to go watch. Turn this off and go watch that. Wait till after the show, then go watch Seinfeld.
Yeah.
But it was not a big hit right away. Like, I had the DVD collections with all the extras on them, and they freely admit the first 4 seasons of that show, we were constantly being threatened with being canceled. And the ratings weren't there, the network executives didn't like it, they didn't get the humor, it was a weird show. But then season 5 and the rest of the way, then it clicked. I think in the current environment, like, if you don't go platinum immediately, they shut the whole thing down. There's not that growth period, and they're definitely not interested in building careers. They treat there's another reason why you should stay independent. Those executives and those people in the boardroom look at creators like an ATM machine. They do not look at you as a human being with a brain and a soul.
Yeah, if you don't punch out cash when they poke the buttons.
Yep.
And the thing is, there's too many other people competing that will have the next hot idea that will be hot for a moment, that have on right now. So I don't know. Right now, we see things branching out into different streaming services. I wonder if there's ever going to come to a point, and we're seeing where a live action series goes the same route that we've seen comic books go. You want to watch my series, you can get it directly from me. And it's like, like taking Netflix and splintering it off to where, I like that Daredevil show. I'm going to support that Daredevil creative team to watch the Daredevil show. Not Netflix and get everything else with it, but I'm going to get just the Daredevil thing.
Yep. I wondered the same thing about movies. And another 60-second story. Grew up in Houston. The Compaq Center was called the Summit before that. That's where the Houston Rockets play. What a lot of people don't know, to the Compaq Center was a movie theater, the Greenway 3, and it showed genuine independent movies. I mean, they used to do the Rocky Horror Picture Show there. I saw Clerks there a million years ago. I saw Jackie Brown in there. A lot of Miramax stuff was in there in the old days. And I wonder if there's still an audience for that kind of stuff, but the difference between like comic books, you can do the whole comic book yourself. You and your buddy or your wife or whatever. One could be the writer, one could be the artist. You can keep the team small and just make it happen. By definition, movies and TV are a group activity. They're made by committee. No, even the great Quentin Tarantino and the great Steven Spielberg, they do not all do it themselves. As much as they'd love you to believe that they were making coffee and parking cars and shining shoes, no, you had a lot of help. So I would love to see what you say happened, but can people work together long enough to make it happen?
Well, we've seen it happen once, at least once, and the one that I'm aware of, Rob Thomas, when he crowdfunded Veronica Mars movie.
Yeah, he did. I forgot about that. Yes, he certainly did.
That was a big controversy on Kickstarter because before that point, it was always, it was the Shark Tank of the internet. Here's my idea, help me fund this thing. And Rob Thomas walks in and says, "Hey, had a successful television show. Y'all want to see a movie? They'll do it if we can raise the capital." And it was like, this is not for you. This is not made for people who have, and meanwhile, everyone else was like, shut up and take my money. And it was like this record-breaking crowdfunder. Not a bad movie. I'd never seen the series. I saw the movie and season 1 of the next series.
It was cute. It's not a favorite of mine, but you got to separate, I like it versus it's good or not, and it's definitely a good show.
Yeah, I mean, I like chocolate covered cherries. They're not good for you.
Yeah, no.
But I'll definitely eat them. So we've been going close to an hour and a half here. I know people probably got some plans. What I'm going to do is real quick, just recap what we had before here.
Let's do it.
Going to go through first I've got to share the screen. Because I unshared it earlier. So let's just go through the nominations for best categories in 2020. We'll start with the best movie. Best movie nominations are Bloodshot. Again, not because it's good.
I saw that one. That's another 2 movies I saw this year.
Some of them I forgot were this year. I had to look them up and say, yeah, that really was this year.
Well, that one will be remembered for, if nothing else, that was the last big Hollywood release before the Corona lockdown. Yeah, they really got screwed over by that.
Yes, they did. Everybody did. Doolittle, I think, came out after the Corona lockdown. Next one is Enola Holmes. This one lucked out by going straight to Netflix, but it's a movie, not a series, so it counted as a movie. Fat Man. Have you seen this one yet?
No. Is that Mel Gibson?
That's Mel Gibson playing Santa Claus.
Oh, I'm already sold.
Yeah,
and that's the great Walton Goggins behind him.
Yeah, he's a hitman who's hired to kill Santa Claus by a kid who got coal in his stocking.
Okay, make another note.
Yeah, the great Don Chin turned me on to this one. So it's one to see. Freaky. This is Freaky Friday all over again, only this time it's Vince Vaughn and 16-year-old Catherine Newton who change bodies, and Vince Vaughn is a serial killer. So Vince Vaughn's walking around acting like a 16-year-old girl, and Catherine's got the blade. This is done by the people who did Happy Death Day, so you know what you're getting. Love and Monsters, my personal favorite out of everything this year. Have you seen this one yet?
No.
Okay, so there's a giant meteor coming at the Earth. Everyone's going to die. All the countries of the world fire all their rockets at the meteors and blows it up. Saves the world, except the stuff that falls back is all radioactive. And every 1950s giant bug movie comes to life. So everyone's living on this world now where there's giant slugs, there's giant scorpions, giant leeches. And the main character is this lovable loser living in this tiny colony underground that he's kept away from being a hunter because, he'll get killed if he goes out. Well, he finds out on the radio that his girlfriend before the apocalypse is living 90 miles away in another colony, and he vows to go get her. And they're like, dude, you're going to die. And he doesn't luck his way and stumble his way and goof his way to success. He actually grows as a character and becomes this, the hero he's meant to be. This, of course, has what's his name from Guardians of the Galaxy? The blue-finned head guy.
Know you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
I can't remember his name now. And Ariana Greenblatt.
Bautista, something like that?
No, not Bautista.
No, not him.
The one who owned Star-Lord as a boy.
Oh, okay.
That guy. Anyway, Love and Monsters. I really like that one. Mulan. That one got hugely screwed by the Wuhan flu.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but from what I read, I really like the animated movie. By the way, that was Christina Aguilera's first big hit, was on the soundtrack to the original Mulan. That's supposed to be A+.
The animated one?
The new, well, both of them, but yeah, the new one. Where like the one Will Smith was, where he was Aladdin or something. Oh God, never mind.
That didn't make the list. Where are we going here? Okay, Onward. This one actually came out before before we were all in lockdown, because I saw this one in the theater. Sonic the Hedgehog was probably the last one I saw before the lockdown. And Wonder Woman 1984, which just snuck in under the wire, which I have not seen. So
yeah, I did, and I have HBO Max. I just haven't had the time to watch it yet. Something to do this weekend.
I don't have it, but I will. I've got the Warner Brothers Press Pass access to everything. I'm supposed to be able to see feature films, but they haven't made that one available yet.
Well, hey, here's your life hack for everyone out there. I got HBO Max by accident. I have my home internet through AT&T, and they give you the special for the year. It's really like $80. We'll give it to you for $50. My discount ran out, so I had to call them in the call center. It's like, hey, my discount ran out. What else you got? And they just gave it to me for free when I re-signed up. So if you got a phone bill or whatever through AT&T, you can basically just ask for HBO Max.
Yeah, that too. I do. I have seen the Joker or Joker. I don't know if it's the Joker or it's Joker. I've seen it. It wasn't on our list of best movies, but it can certainly be Joaquin Phoenix. That's the guy who played him. We were debating that earlier. It can certainly be written in as a write-in vote. All of these categories have an other option where people can write in what they think should have been on there.
That one I need to watch. I need to watch it anyway, but I've heard a thing that there's a lot of stand-up comedians who've now become de facto podcasters I like Joey Diaz is a good example. They swear up and down that we know the Joker's not a traditional superhero movie. It's like, this isn't a superhero movie at all. This is about the comedians who don't become Chris Rock, who aren't Dave Chappelle, that they're 30 years later still playing the Chuckle Hut in Mississippi. It's like, that's what that movie's about.
Yeah, and he just happened to, go nuts, and the whole city was going nuts at the same time for no real reason related to him. They just kind of, to me, it wasn't so much a movie about, here's the story of the guy who became the Joker. It was a story about, here's the story about all you people who are fans of the Joker, who's a villain who kills people, and yet he's your idol and icon. So that's what it was to me. Nominees for Best Series, Hellstrom is on Hulu. This is the Marvel's basically Son of Satan. The Mandalorian obviously is a big hit with everybody. The Queen's Gambit, a Netflix series, which was very intriguing. Ratched just came out like a month or two ago. This is the series that precedes One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Wow.
Yeah, they're digging deep for that one. Stargirl, which there's my personal favorite. If I were to vote, I would be voting on that one. The Great on Hulu. This is the Catherine the Great story, which is very, very liberally told and has a dash of historical basis in it, and that's about it. And The Umbrella Academy, Season 2. Interesting storylines on that one. Those are our nominees for Best Series of 2020. Best movie.
While you're switching files, I gotta. You remember what I said a second ago about you got to separate the art from the artist? That Umbrella Academy's great. Gerard Way is an above average writer at a minimum. I hated his band. I do not like My Chemical Romance at all. But
Really?
Does that have anything to do with his writing and his comic books and his TV show? Absolutely not. You got to separate them.
I like that one song from them, the Teenager Scare of the Living, that one.
There's a song I like, I'm Not Okay. That one, I can't remember the name, but yeah, they got the one song I like. But I saw them live at the Warped Tour, and I think I went to the bar while they were on. I didn't dig it.
Yeah, I like, Teenagers Scare the Living Shit Out of Me. That's the only one that I'm really a fan of. Come on, go back. What's going on here? Oh, I clicked. That's what happened. So Best Movie Actor, Ariana Greenblatt for her role in Love and Monsters. I've got my title card in the wrong spot here, so I'm not fixing it. Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman 1984. That is not Millie Bobby Brown. I forgot her name now. Yeah, I've got to look it up. I've got her here. No, that is Millie Bobby Brown. So I was wrong. I was trying to correct myself when I didn't need to. Millie Bobby Brown in Enola Holmes, and Robert Downey Jr. for Doolittle. Again, not a whole lot to pick from this year.
Yeah, but you can't hate Robert Downey Jr. You talked earlier about the Oscars getting it wrong. He got robbed for Chaplin. He should have won Best Actor for Chaplin.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. He's just good overall.
He's just good in everything. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is one of my favorites, and that's kind of got overlooked and buried in the pages of history. That's an awesome movie.
We got our Best Series Actor for 2020. We start with Anya Taylor-Joy for The Queen's Gambit. And then we have April Bowlby for Doom Patrol. Breck Basinger for Stargirl. Elle Fanning in The Great. Gina Carano in The Mandalorian. Luke Wilson for his supporting role in Stargirl. Nicholas Hoult for The Great. He's Emperor Peter. And if you've ever seen Blackadder, he's sort of like the Prince Regent with a homicidal streak. He's just nutty and kills. And huzzah, it's fun. Pedro Pascal for The Mandalorian. And those are our Best Series Actor nominees. Again, add whatever it is you want to add to the other option. We have a write-in every category except for Bombshell of the Year, because you can't write in a Bombshell of the Year. You have to pick from our Bombshell of the Month.
I could tell, even in the shows I haven't seen, I could tell right away that this isn't the most famous person who had a new thing this year. This isn't the one who's dating a Kardashian now. These are the people who contributed to their project and made it better.
Absolutely. That's what we hope to achieve here. Best Comic Story. This is the one where I said, we had real change this year, because it used to be the best comic stories, either the best comic book or the best comic storyline, because it could hop books around. So we just kind of mashed them together. It used to be the big event stuff. You pick the best event or best single standout issue from DC or Marvel or Dark Horse. That's changed this year. This year we've had a lot of stuff come out independently. So we start with The Adventures of Kim Il-sung and Best Korea. Which nobody saw that one coming. Then you got the Dark Knight's Death Metal, which is apparently all kinds of craziness. Deceased, Dead Planet. This is your Walking Dead in the DC universe thing by Tom Taylor. Alternate timeline, so it's not, he can do whatever he wants in it. It's very freeing. Demon Hunter Raven. Dynamite. This is Dynamite on that whole let's zombie all our characters out story. It's interesting. It's John Carter, Warlord of Mars, and the Project Superpowers, and everybody that Dynamite's got. They're in that one big storyline going. Dominion, Fall of the House of Saul from Terminus Media. This is Old Testament 2 Samuel done in a way that is Narnia meets Star Wars. They're in space. They're flying mechs around, and they're anthropomorphic lions and ravens and other animals.
See, that right there is all of these, but especially the one with the lions. We talked a second ago about, I guess it was more than a second ago, you can't judge a book by its cover, but you can kind of tell what's coming. And there's so many, especially the big two of like, oh, more Infinity Gems. Oh, Batman's having another existential crisis. Then I see this, which is a series I haven't heard of. And it's like, hey, what's going on with them? I want to know more about what these people are up to. It's just one image, one still image draws you in.
Yeah, I've read the first issue of this one, and it's really good. Their introduction of Goliath it starts with it starts with Samuel abandoning Saul because Saul did not totally destroy the Amalekites, and it moves on from there. It stays true to the religious story, but they're flying ships and fighting in mechs, and it's interesting. Downcast, Rise and Fall, Eudaimonia, Graveyard Shift, The Joker War. That's one that hops titles around, so it's just like that's the storyline. Common America from Iconic Comics, King in Black from Marvel, Kyrie, Lady Death, Malevolent Decimation from Coffin Comics.
R.I.P. Stephen Hughes.
Oh, yeah. Lillian Wepwawet from Tonic Comics. Niobe Birthright from Rebel Gaming. Punchline and the Vaudevillains from Hero Tomorrow. Red Rooster from Allegiance Arts. Saving the World from Tonic Comics. Soulbound, starring Sonia Devereaux from American Mythology. T-Bird and Throttle. Titan, Mouse of Might. U.S. Assassin.
That one I have read. That's a good book.
Which one? U.S. Assassin or Vestry?
U.S. Assassin, yes.
All right, I've read Vestry. Vestry's an interesting book too. That's more of a if you watch Rome, the series, it's kind of that with some supernatural elements to it.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm sold.
Villainous.
That's how you do an elevator pitch.
And X of Swords, which I can't. That one looks like it's too big for me to get into. Plus, I've heard that it's 2 issues of a dinner. So I'm not even going to get into.
Here's me not taking my own advice of separating the art from the artist. I got some sore feelings with Marvel right now. Maybe next year I'll read that.
Gotcha. All right, best comics writer. But you saw how many comic books we had that were making the best of list, and I've already been told how short it is. I thought it was like overly long, but
no, and none of them are a sequel. I mean, yeah, you got Marvel and DC stuff in there, but they're doing something new, at least new to them. It's refreshing. It to me, it feels like, especially the crowdfunders, but all comic books, it's like Seattle in 1990. There is something brewing, and something big is about to happen around the corner. I don't mean big, like everyone's going to be a millionaire and start driving Ferraris, but it's good. It's going to be an impact the rest of the world can't ignore.
Well, this should definitely put the comic book industry on notice that their books have competition.
Big time. Yeah.
So the nominees for Best Comics Writer of 2020 are Bill Williams for Punchline. Clint Stoker for Downcast. Donnie Cates for Venom. James Tynion IV for Batman. Scott Snyder for Justice League. Tom Taylor for Deceased Dead Planet. And Tonic Mole for Saving the World and Lily and Wepwawet. Man put out 2 books this year, crowdfunded. So good on him. I hope he watches this.
Out of curiosity, do you know if he did those campaigns back to back, or did he do them simultaneously?
I think he did them back to back.
I think that's the smarter move. I've seen a couple people try to do 2 different, like way different series simultaneously, and you're cannibalizing your own audience when you do that. So mental note.
I've had some guests on that have done that, and I was like, they're like, well, this is our first time doing it. I'm like, okay, lesson 1. He's like, yeah, everybody's told we'll know better next time.
Yeah.
So everybody's learning. We're all learning from our own mistakes here.
There's no textbook to learn how to crowdfund. Not yet.
Not yet. Best Comics Artist of 2020. Brian and Brendan Frame for starring Sonia Devereaux. Kanan White for Grimm Fairy Tales and a ton of other things he's done. Dr. Darren Bell, who's also the writer on Dominion, but he's the artist. Gillian March for his work on Batman. Illustrator Monk for his contributions to Lily and Wepwawet. Jorge Jimenez for Superman. Matthew Weldon for Punchline and Downcast. And Preston Acevedo for I can't talk now. For Doc Salem. And those are all our artists. Those are all the nominations for people who created comics this year, for people who made movies. Then, of course, the last thing we've got is our Bombshell of the Year. These are the monthly cosplayers that we've featured throughout the year who you can now figure out and vote on who the best of is, who will become our Critical Blast Bombshell of the Year. And the nominees are for January, we have Strange Cosplay. Let me get that mouse off his head. There we go. February, Jade Martinez. March, Shady Hayes.
Is that what I think it was? The Superboy from Return of the Superman?
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yep, she's doing the Superboy. She's got the spikes on the jacket and everything. April is Lord Alexander. May is Noe Nikki. June is God of Mischief, UK. Knows he's playing Hide the Odin with the 3 silver cups. July, Booster Cold, New York. August, Euphoria cosplay. September, Saint Hysteria, doing some Witcher there. October, Katie DeCobre. November, Erica Williams. And do you get the significance of the cosplay here, Brian?
I heard you say it earlier at the beginning of the show, and I did not know that. I knew that they filmed Star Trek at Desilu. I didn't know the other half of it.
Yep, they were going to cancel after season 1, and Lucy said, no, give it another ride.
A smart move.
Yeah. And December's Bombshell of the Month, Edwin Davis, doing a snazzy-looking Robin there. Now, if you go through and you search on our site for Bombshell, you'll find all of these. They generally do 3 or 4 pictures for each one of the spotlight articles we do. That's not just a solo picture there, but we just picked one for this.
Yeah,
if you really want to read up on what they are and what they do and how they contribute through charities and social events, each one is an article in and of itself. We encourage you to do that.
The common denominator I see in all of those nominees there is it's more than putting on some goofy clothes. There's an acting element to it. They understand the character. They understand the body language, how they carry themselves. A lot of work went into that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, tomorrow you will see our January bombshell make her debut, and she does a Gwen Stacy from Tales of the Spider, or from Into the Spider-Verse, where she's using some Photoshop. She's not just dressed up as Gwen Stacy; she's glitching. So I thought that was a clever application to the photo. I mean, it'd be a lot harder to play that in real, live action at a con and everything. But I'm seeing a lot of people posing and then doing Photoshop behind them, like they're flying along with jets as Ms. Marvel or something. So that is our nominees for this year. Again, any category you think we missed somebody in, because I'm sure we did, and it's probably your favorite, write them in, and they will still get counted as and voted. Share the link to the voting page. It's in the description below. It's on our website. Campaign for your favorites. Share them with other people saying, hey, I voted for this and I think it should win, so would you please go ahead and vote for this one?
If you're living your life right, you should have been voting for all kinds of stuff all year. Y'all should have voted about, 6-8 weeks ago for something pretty big that happened. Let your voice be heard. There's not a clear favorite in these categories. Your voice matters.
Absolutely. And there will be, we are carefully monitoring everything on this. So there will be none of this.
Yeah, none of that. No fuzzy math, as they used to call it.
We're not going to get 350,000 votes after midnight of February 1st for one series or another, or for one actor or another.
No, and we're not going there. I just want to say one sentence. That story's not done. No. Yeah, we'll see what happens after New Year's.
I feel like Bill Murray. It's like, well, it's election day again.
Yeah, that is what this year has felt like. It's felt like Groundhog Day. Of just what next. It's just a different version of the same kind of trauma.
I had this nightmare where I get up tomorrow and I turn the calendar page and it says January 2020. Like, no, I don't want to do it again.
My favorite part of that movie is the little montage where he's trying to whack himself and he can't do it because karma won't let him. He drops a toaster in a bathtub and then just wakes up the next day. It's like, yeah, that's kind of what this feels like.
If I would be interested from a sadistic point of view, or a masochistic point of view rather, to see a Groundhog's Day that went and showed all the days. Because he learned how to play piano. He learned how to do surgery.
Yep. Yeah, I remember he knew all the answers to Jeopardy. Everyone thought he was a genius. It's like, no, this is about the 200th day in a row I've watched this.
Yeah, he knows this set of answers.
Yeah, exactly.
But he still did go off, and read these books and learn how to do things.
Yep.
And I
think that was the point of the movie. The whole thing was he needed to realign himself with the universe, and this is how, you're going to do this. You don't have a choice. Didn't Harold Ramis write that? Harold Ramis is a really underrated, more than a writer. He was the driving force behind a lot of stuff I like.
Yeah, we need more movies like that. Now, I've said that, and somebody's going to do a Groundhog's Day remake. I don't mean exactly like that. We need more original idea movies, because they've already done a Groundhog's Day remake. It was called Happy Death Day, where she keeps getting killed and she keeps waking up. So,
and then there's a lot of those remakes. The remake that really offended me, I may have said this before on here, the Point Break remake was so pointless, so stupid, and that was like, the original Point Break was a big launching pad for those guys. Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze was already a big star, but that was his first darker role. It really established Catherine Bigelow as a director. They did a lot in that movie with a low budget. The remake was a waste of time and money.
Yeah. The one that they haven't remade yet, that, first of all, I can't believe they haven't remade it. And second of all, I'd like to be the one who did it. Theatrical release of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you would do it, but just have like multiple attempts to almost get off the island, always being failed. I would probably try to do it the way that the internet fan theory has. Have you heard the internet theory of the 7 deadly sins in Gilligan's Island?
No, I have not heard this.
Yeah, somebody put this together, and they said if you look at the characters on Gilligan's Island, they match up with the 7 deadly sins.
No kidding.
The skipper is both gluttony and wrath. The professor is pride. Mr. Howell was
greed or Aravis or whatever.
Greed. Ginger is, of course, lust. Marianne is envy. I forget what the 7th one would have been. Mrs. Howell would have been.
She was sloth. It had to be
sloth. Okay, and then there's like well, how come they and the end it was like, well, how come we didn't give one to Gilligan? Well, think about it. Gilligan dresses in red, and he's the one who keeps them on the island. Gilligan is the devil. He keeps them in hell.
I'd almost think that was intentional, except I'm not trying to diss a dead man, but come on. Sherwood Schwartz was not Tom or John Grisham, I
exactly
think that someone's reading into that, but I don't think they're wrong.
I don't think so. Well, Sherwood Schwartz, and his writers were pretty sharp. One of my favorite Sherwood Schwartz stories is with the Batman series, and I've seen the episode where it happens. There is, hang on here. I want to read this. Little known fact: Mr. Spock played the congas in the Desi Arnaz Rumba Orchestra.
Get out of here! No way.
Because I would have to go back and try to pick him out from those Babaloos. But what was I talking about before I interrupt myself now?
Me too. I got stopped in my track. I didn't know Spock was in Desi Arnaz's band. That's awesome.
The Batman series, one of the writers, he had a sheikh visiting town from Saudi Arabia, and he's like, well, I got to give him a name. I'll pick the last name of this family I grew up next to and the street name that was across town from me. And the editors knew that he was always the kind of guy who was slipping stuff into the script. And he looked at that name. He's like, oh, no, you don't. I'm not falling for this again. Go out and give me a real name. So he's like, oh, you want something Arabic? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, it'll be Sheikh Ibn Karab. And it is in the episode Sheikh Ibn Karab, which is Arabic for son of a bitch. So all the little Arab kids watching Batman 66 back in the day were like,
yep.
Never piss off the writer.
I had a thought in my head. You said you want to remake Gilligan. I guess it depends on if you want to do it serious or if you just want to do a comedy. If you want to do a comedy, there's totally a way to kind of get that darker Bill Hicks, Sam Kinison vibe into it. I instantly had the idea of you have a Navy plane flies over, sees them on the island, but then the rear man in the back's like, hey, the Super Bowl starts in an hour. Let's go back and watch the game. Oh yeah, screw this. They take off, and then the Air Force flies over, looks at it, nah, we gotta, it's like just these horrible things keep happening to them that aren't their fault.
No, don't remake Logan's Run. We don't want to remake Logan's Run. I'm assuming that he didn't play the rumba orchestra in Logan's Run, but that you're saying that Logan's Run would be a good one to remake. That I like Logan.
My dream project along those lines, and I don't think it's possible in the current environment. I have a really cool idea for a Punisher story that would take place in Mexico that absolutely Disney would not be cool with because of the ideas I have. And so I'm trying. I guess this is my mission for the year, that figure out a way to take that story and tell it, but it can't be the Punisher. I got to come up with my original character who's not the Punisher, and do it that way.
It's the Punisher is nothing more than Mac Bolan with a skull T-shirt.
Yep.
It's the exact same origin story that Marvel they totally ripped off Don Pendleton with that, and there's Able Team and there's the Destroyer, which I'm intimately familiar with.
Yeah, so some experience with.
Yeah, so they're all mix and match of those things. So
my attraction to the Punisher isn't let's fire 1 million rounds of ammo. It's I was in the Army for 6 years. I wasn't, I went to basic training. No, I got on many an airplane and flew around the world for Uncle Sam.
Thank you.
So I trust me, I appreciate it, but it wasn't some big sacrifice on my time. I had a blast. It was so much fun. But I understand, and I've seen that people were in the service, and you're in that, especially if you're like in the infantry or, you're in a tank or something, it's just nonstop action the whole time. And then you get out and you get a job at UPS or something, and I think I want to shoot myself. I'm so bored. Or, I'm not talking about the PTSD and the mental problems. I'm just talking about everybody, even if you were the general secretary or whatever, it's a hard adjustment back into civilian life. And so I don't think Disney would be cool having me do that kind of story with the Punisher.
Yeah. I'd like to see it though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If there's a very similar character shows up next year, well, for the time gets past us, let me pimp one of my projects. There's a channel I'm involved with. Everyone should check out on YouTube called Death Curse. It's a lot of the Alterna creators, and they're doing a thing called the 24-hour comic book challenge. And it's not 24 consecutive hours. It's going to be 8 weeks where everyone meets, on StreamYard and live stream and works on it together in 3-hour chunks. But if you think about major leaguers and minor leaguers, where I'm a minor leaguer, I got game, but I don't have any huge publishing credits to my name, right? And then you got Ryan Wynn and those people who they've been around the block. So if you're a major leaguer, you're doing a 24-page story. If you're a minor leaguer, you're doing a 10-page story. But I'm really taking this year. It's what I said earlier about, you got to make it this coming year what you make of it. I'm jumping in the deep end of the pool and more rock, less talk,
Yeah, I hear you. I've got, I had this idea for a novel that I was like, that's kind of a novella. It's kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, no, like Stephen King did a lot of them, and I can't think of the name. Yeah, like about 60 pages or so, something like that.
Yeah, it's a novella, but it's got kind of a theme to it that it's too clever for its own good to be a novel, but it would work great as a 4-issue comic book series. That gimmicky. Yeah, it's too gimmicky to be a novel, but it involves Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, Edgar Rice Burroughs, and the Mothman. And I can't say anything more about it than that because I've pretty much given away the whole plot right there.
Well, we do like I Dream a Genie and blink into the future and the project's created. I'd kind of do, you remember the Blair Witch Project where all the advertising really didn't give away what that movie was about? Like, do that. Just say those few words and, hey, you got to find it yourself to check out the rest of it.
There you go. It's one of a couple of stories I've got kicking around here. Who knows if we make some money on the shipping thing, maybe I'll turn around and apply that into paying some artists to do some comics. We'll just build a little crowdfunding empire of our own here. Well, and go out and do what you're going to do for New Year's. Folks in the chat, appreciate it.
I'm going to bed because we got work in the morning.
Oh, I hear that. My son thinks it's going to be a big thing to stay up till midnight tonight. I'm like, don't wake me up.
I'm 43 years old. I've had a wild life. I've been there and done that with the New Year's Eve parties. I just want to lay down and listen to some music.
I'm good with not. Nothing happens except the clock ticks over. It's like, okay, it's 12:01. Going to bed. Well,
something else happens. Let me part with this, and this is very, very serious. I know I'm a humorist. Don't take this super serious guy, but this is serious. New Year's Eve, Memorial Day, Halloween, those kind of holidays are amateur night. That's where you got, the secretary in your office, that guy that lives down the street from you. The people who don't party go and have like 50 beers in one shot. They get out of control and then get behind the wheel. Everyone, please be safe tonight. Take an Uber, walk, take the bus. Don't get on the roads. Not tonight, please.
Yep, absolutely. Be safe, everybody. You should. Pap says, I shoot a double-barrel 12 gauge at midnight every year. Into the air or at the ground.
Yeah, San Antonio does a lot of that. They have neighborhoods where, Arriba, fire in the air. That ends badly. I would not recommend that one either.
Here's something I learned in grade school. What goes up must come down.
It's not going to come down on you. It's going to come down on someone down the street.
Yes. So, firing it out the window, Mr. Biden? Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And with that, Happy New Year to everybody. 2021 is going to be so much better and so much more fun, especially in this crowdfunding comics thing. There's so many things you're going to fulfill next year. It's going to blow people's minds. And next year
is going away.
It's going to be
not going away. We're not going back to the old methods. Get on the boat or go away and do something else. Those are your options.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a huge sea change in comics this year in regards to DC and Marvel and their relation to all these crowdfunders. So with that, we will see you probably not tomorrow. Nobody.
No, 16th.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see you on the 15th. Yes, the 16th for the LCS Guys show. But if anybody wants to, come on and talk about their crowdfunding books, we have Marvin Wynn is scheduled for Monday to come on and talk about The Edge. But other than that, the slate has opened up. So hit us up on Twitter at Critical Blast. Let us know what your book is and what night you'd like to come on, and we will get you in here. So with that,